Khloé Kardashian comments on Scott Disick's new girlfriend. According to her, his new girlfriend is only after fame and money. She uses him to set up her own agency and gain exposure. There are few figures in the world of reality TV who have lived as much of their personal lives in the public spotlight as Scott Disick. For nearly 2 decades, audiences have followed his highs and lows on Keeping Up with the Kardashians and in countless tabloid headlines. His struggles, triumphs, and turbulent love life have been dissected by fans, critics, and gossip outlets alike. And while Scott has always been open about his imperfections, his battles with addiction, his heartbreaks, his patterns with women, what makes his newest relationship so fascinating is the way it suggests a man who may finally be ready to break free from his old cycles. Scott's love story cannot be told without Kourtney Kardashian. Their romance began in 2006 when the two met at a party in Mexico hosted by Girls Gone Wild founder Joe Francis. At the time, the Kardashians were not yet the global household names they would become, and Scott was just another young man enjoying nightlife and social scenes. Yet from the start, there was chemistry. Their connection would go on to shape the next decade of Scott's life and become one of the central storylines of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The relationship was anything but smooth. Over the years, Scott and Kourtney became known for their fiery arguments, dramatic breakups, and passionate reconciliations. Their love was real, but it was also fraught with difficulties. Scott struggled publicly with alcohol and substance abuse, which often played out in front of television cameras. Episodes showed him partying excessively, lashing out, and being confronted by Kourtney and her family. In one infamous moment, Kourtney's sister Khloé Kardashian labeled him toxic after his behavior became too destructive to ignore. Yet, despite the dysfunction, Scott and Kourtney built a family together. For many fans, these children symbolized the bond that held Scott and Kourtney together, even when their relationship was falling apart. But the struggles never fully went away. Scott's battle with addiction led to stints in rehab, and his admitted infidelities placed enormous strain on the relationship. In 2015, after nearly a decade of trying, Kourtney finally ended things for good. That breakup marked the end of their romantic relationship, though their lives remained intertwined through co-parenting. Their dynamic continued to fascinate the public. Even years after they split, fans speculated about whether they might reconcile. When Kourtney moved on with Travis Barker and eventually married him in 2022, Scott admitted it was painful to watch. According to E! News, he struggled to adjust, saying, "It was a huge adjustment losing her romantically, but now it's another adjustment losing her as kind of a best friend." His identity for so long had been wrapped up in Kourtney and their family unit, and letting go was a challenge. After his split from Kourtney, Scott's love life became a constant subject of public fascination. No longer tethered to a single long-term partner, he began dating again, and the women he chose only fueled the media frenzy around him. In 2017, Scott entered what many considered his first serious post-Kourtney relationship when he began dating Sofia Richie, daughter of music legend Lionel Richie. Sofia was just 19 at the time, while Scott was 34. Their nearly 3-year romance raised eyebrows because of the significant age gap, but the pair seemed genuinely committed. Sofia was even photographed spending time with Scott's children, a sign that he considered her a real part of his life. For a while, it appeared that Scott had found some stability, but by 2020, things fell apart. Multiple outlets, including Us Weekly and People, reported that Sofia's family was never fully comfortable with the relationship, and the age difference continued to be a topic of controversy. Sources suggested that Scott's continued closeness to Kourtney and his ongoing personal struggles contributed to the split. Not long after, Scott was linked to Amelia Gray Hamlin, the daughter of actors Lisa Rinna and Harry Hamlin. Once again, the age gap, he was 37 and she was 19, sparked criticism. The relationship was shorter-lived, ending in 2021, but it added to the pattern that many began to associate with Scott. Older man, much younger girlfriend, glamorous lifestyle, and ultimately an expiration date. Throughout these years, Scott was also romantically connected with a variety of other women, including models Bella Thorne, Megan Blake Irwin, Christine Burke, and stylist Chloe Bartoli. None of these flings lasted long, but they kept his name in the headlines. Even in 2022, he was spotted with British model Rebecca Donaldson, who accompanied him to the Kardashians' premiere, and later with Kimberly Stewart, daughter of rock legend Rod Stewart. Each relationship seems to follow a familiar script: flashy beginnings, paparazzi photos, speculation about seriousness, and eventual fade-outs. For fans, it became almost predictable. Scott would date someone younger, the media would react, the Kardashians would comment, and eventually the relationship would end. It was a carousel, and Scott seemed stuck riding it. What makes Scott Disick's story compelling is that he has shown flashes of self-awareness. Over the years, he has admitted that his dating choices may not always have been wise. In the Keeping Up with the Kardashians reunion in 2021, host Andy Cohen asked him directly about his preference for younger women. Scott pushed back, saying, "Everybody gets this wrong that I look for young girls. I don't go out looking for young girls. They happen to be attracted to me because I look young. That's what I'm telling myself." The audience laughed, but there was an underlying truth in his words. Scott knew the public saw a pattern, and he couldn't entirely deny it. This was a turning point. For years, Scott had defended his choices, even joked about them. But here he was, publicly acknowledging that the age gaps were a problem, that he wanted something more serious, more lasting, more age-appropriate. He emphasized that he didn't want to introduce any new partner to his children unless he believed she could be the one. And it seems he finally met the one. According to sources close to Scott, he's madly in love with his new girlfriend, Katie, from Ireland. They met during a business trip and have been inseparable ever since, as far as distance allows. Katie is not a celebrity, but she works as a marketing consultant and often travels the world that way. According to E! News, Scott is smitten with Katie and has taken the unusual step of cutting off ties with other women to focus on her exclusively. Sources close to the couple said, "Scott is smitten over Katie, and it's clear to everyone that they're serious." He's even cut all ties with other women he was seeing and talking to focus on his relationship with Katie. What makes Katie different is not just her relative lack of fame, but also the way Scott seems to be approaching the relationship. Instead of flaunting it for attention or treating it like a temporary fling, he appears to be seeking stability. Sources close to him have said that he is looking for a long-term partner, someone age-appropriate, someone he could see himself building a future with. Whether Katie turns out to be that person remains to be seen, but the fact that Scott is even framing the relationship in those terms is a significant shift.